In the complex world of weaponry, where technology and firepower are decisive, the Abrams tank holds a special place. This tank is not just a war machine, but the result of decades of research, development, and battlefield experience. From the deserts of the Middle East to the plains of Europe, the Abrams has had an effective presence in various climatic and geographical conditions, and has participated in numerous battles. But how was this tank built? What features have made it one of the most well-known and powerful tanks in the world? And is this tank still effective in modern warfare? In this video, we take a close look at the Abrams tank, from design and construction to performance and history. And finally, we will answer the important question of whether this tank has played a role in the war in Ukraine. So join us to learn more about this remarkable tank. The story of the Abrams tank's origin dates back to the late 1960s and early 1970s, when the United States Army was seeking a replacement for the M60 tanks, which at that time formed the backbone of its armored forces. During the Cold War, with the emergence of advanced Soviet tanks like the T-62 and T-72, the need for a new tank with greater firepower, mobility, and protection became increasingly apparent. The XM-1 project, as the development program for the US Army's next-generation tank, began in 1972, and after competition between Chrysler and General Motors, Chrysler's design was selected as the winning design in 1976. The first Abrams prototypes were built in 1978, and after extensive testing, mass production of the tank began in 1979 at the Army's tank plant in Lima, Ohio. The M1 Abrams officially entered service with the United States Army in 1980, gradually replacing the M60 tanks in the country's armored units. The tank is named after General Creighton Abrams, commander of US forces in the Vietnam War and Chief of Staff of the US Army. The most important weapon of the Abrams tank is its main gun. Early M1 models used the 105mm M68 rifled gun, but later models, namely the M1A1 and subsequent models, adopted the 120mm M256 smoothbore gun. This gun, produced in the United States under license from the German company Rheinmetall, is capable of firing a wide range of ammunition, including armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding (sabot) APF-SDS rounds with tungsten or depleted uranium cores for penetrating enemy tank armor, high-explosive anti-tank heat rounds for engaging armored targets and fortifications, and multi-purpose anti-tank MPAT rounds for engaging personnel and light targets. In addition to the main gun, the Abrams is equipped with a 12.7mm M2 heavy machine gun on the turret and a coaxial 7.62 machine gun. To enhance survivability on the battlefield, the Abrams utilizes advanced protection systems. Chobham composite armor, consisting of various layers of metal, ceramic, and polymer materials, provides very high protection against various threats. Also, laser warning systems, smoke grenade launchers, and infrared jammers are installed in this tank to counter anti-tank guided missiles. Night vision and thermal imaging systems also allow the crew to identify and engage targets in low light and limited visibility conditions. One of the prominent features of the Abrams tank is its highly advanced armor. This tank utilizes a multi-layered composite armor called Chobham, developed by Britain in the 1960s. This armor is composed of materials such as ceramics, metals, and various alloys, creating very high resistance against projectiles and anti-tank missiles. Chobham armor is significantly more resistant than traditional steel armor and can effectively absorb and dissipate the energy from enemy ordnance explosions. However, even the most advanced armor has weaknesses. During the Iraq War, it became clear that the Abrams was vulnerable to attacks from certain angles, especially from the sides and rear. Insurgents and paramilitary forces used weapons such as RPG rockets and guided anti-tank missiles, which could penetrate the vulnerable parts of the Abrams armor. Also, the use of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, posed a major challenge for this tank. The explosion of these bombs under or beside the tank could cause serious damage to it and even lead to its disablement or destruction. In some cases, these attacks not only destroyed the tank, but also resulted in the death or injury of its crew. These experiences showed that in asymmetric warfare and urban environments, even a tank as powerful as the Abrams needs appropriate tactics and sufficient support to protect itself from its vulnerabilities. Therefore, in later versions of the Abrams, improvements were made to the armor and active defense systems to increase its resistance against new threats. The entry of Abrams tanks into the war in Ukraine was accompanied by much anticipation and attention. As one of the most advanced tanks in the world, it was expected to play a significant role in Ukraine's counteroffensives. However, the conditions of the war in Ukraine posed new challenges for this tank. The widespread use of reconnaissance and attack drones, anti-tank mines and guided anti-tank missiles by Russian forces has created a dangerous environment for tanks, including the Abrams. Reports of the destruction of a number of Abrams tanks by Russian forces have been published. Some Russian sources have claimed the destruction of a significant number of these tanks, while Western sources have not confirmed these figures. However, videos and images of destroyed or damaged Abrams tanks have been shared on social media, showing that these tanks are also vulnerable to the threats present on the Ukrainian battlefield. Factors such as the combat tactics used, insufficient support for the tanks by infantry and artillery, as well as the specific geographical conditions of Ukraine, open terrain prone to ambushes, have contributed to the vulnerability of the tanks. Overall, it cannot be said that the Abrams has performed completely successfully in Ukraine. The tank has faced serious challenges and has shown that even the most advanced military equipment is vulnerable to modern warfare tactics and weapons without proper planning and support. It should be noted that the number of Abrams tanks sent to Ukraine has been limited, and a definitive judgment on its performance requires closer examination and more information from the battlefield. In this video, we took a comprehensive journey into the world of the Abrams tank, from its history and design to its performance in various battlefields, including the war in Ukraine. We saw that the Abrams, with its powerful armor, advanced systems and high firepower, is considered one of the most prominent tanks in the world. However, as also observed in the war in Ukraine, no weapon is invincible, and combat conditions, enemy tactics, and environmental factors can affect the performance of any equipment. The Abrams has also shown vulnerabilities against modern threats, especially in asymmetric warfare and urban environments. Nevertheless, we cannot ignore the important and influential role of this tank in the history of weaponry. This tank is still under development and improvement, and we will likely see more advanced and powerful versions of it in the future. We hope this video has been useful and informative for you. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in military and weaponry topics, be sure to subscribe to the Military Weapons 365 channel and like this video so we can produce more videos in this field for you. Also, share your comments and suggestions with us in the comments section. Thank you for your support.